Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Giuseppe Ferrato, and alongside with Nick Odell, we've spent the last few weeks diving deep into a topic that's gaining massive attention in the wellness world, myconutrition. Functional mushrooms are being marketed everywhere, from high-end coffees to daily supplements, as miracle ingredients promising everything from sharper focus to longer life. But the real question is, how much of that is science and how much of it is just hype? That is what this presentation is here to explore.
What is myconutrition? When we say myconutrition, we're talking about using mushrooms, especially species like lion's mane and reishi, as natural or medicinal tools. The idea is that these fungi can enhance mental performance, support the immune system, reduce inflammation, and more. But as you'll soon see, there's a huge difference between compounds that work in a petri dish and products being sold to you at $45 a bag, with claims that aren't backed by the FDA, or often by real clinical science.
In recent years, we've seen a massive surge in mushroom based wellness products. And with that growth, there's been a real parallel rise in marketing language that taps into consumer anxieties and desires. Terms like adaptogen, clean energy, and gut support. These aren't regulated medical terms, they're just selling tools. The functional fungi market topped 2.5 billion in 2023. This isn't a fringe health trend anymore. It's big business. And when wellness becomes profit driven, misinformation often follows.
The science versus the hype. This is where things get messy. Yes, mushrooms do have compounds that show promise, many of which have been studied in labs and on animals. But the leap from promising compound in mice to buy this mushroom coffee for better focus is often unsupported. Companies exploit this gray area, promoting studies without the context, knowing that most consumers won't dig deeper. The result? A market full of exaggerated claims that aren't illegal but certainly aren't honest.
Diving right into lion's mane, it's one of the most popular mushrooms out there, especially in products that claim to support memory or cognitive performance. And yes, animal studies show that this mushroom may stimulate nerve growth, and in certain lab tests, it actually encourages neuron extension. But we have to pause and ask, have these effects been consistently demonstrated in humans? The answer is no. A handful of small trials exist, but we are far from being able to say that lion's mane is a brain booster. Yet it's marketed that way every single day.
Another mushroom we'd like to talk about is reishi. It's often called the mushroom of immortality and is said to enhance the immune system and combat stress. These claims are rooted in traditional medicine and reinforced by some in vitro and animal studies. But many products promote these benefits as if they're guaranteed. What's missing is the nuance. Reishi's effects in a controlled lab are not the same as its effects in your body after it's been freeze-dried, powdered, and mixed into a drink.
Moving on to the notable cordyceps, it is marketed towards athletes and high performers for its ability to increase energy and stamina. Some animal studies support that. It can boost ATP production, our cell's energy currency. But once again, companies take that information and leap into selling high priced products with vague claims like natural pre workout. This translation from mice to marketplace is not clear. And consumers often don't realize that science has not caught up with the promise.
Chaga is another mushroom and is promoted for its antioxidant powers and support for digestive and liver health. In rodent studies, it does show protective effects, but again, those studies use concentrated extracts under controlled conditions. What you're buying off a shelf might be heavily diluted, poorly sourced, or made from mycelium rather than the fruiting body, meaning that you're not even getting the same compounds found in the research. The gap between the raw science and the product in your hand is massive.
Everyone knows this mushroom. Shiitake. It's a great example of a mushroom with nutritional and culinary value. But its entry into the supplement world has led to overblown health promises. While studies do show benefits like immune support and cholesterol reduction, they are typically not based on the commercial products available today. Extracts used in research are potent and carefully dosed, unlike many of the capsules or teas that don't standardize their contents at all.
Moving away from the mushrooms and into the regulation, there's a large problem in the US. Supplements are regulated more like food than drugs. Companies don't need to prove their products are effective or even safe before selling. They're only required to avoid making explicit disease claims. So instead, they use coded language. Supports mood, boosts immunity, aids focus. None of those phrases require proof. And unless someone gets hurt or complains, the FDA rarely, if ever, intervenes.
Let's move on to some case studies. Mudwater and Four Sigmatic. Take Mudwater, for example, a mushroom coffee alternative claiming to improve energy and focus. That sounds great, but none of their blends have been tested in clinical trials. They cite studies that have been done on the individual ingredients, often in isolated and at higher dosages. Four Sigmatic follows the exact same playbook. This isn't science, it's marketing by association. Consumers are led to believe that these products are clinically validated when in reality, the connection is thin at best.
In this industry, there's a large risk to consumers of misinformation. The risk here isn't just that people waste money, it's that they build a false sense of security around their health. They may think taking a mushroom supplement replaces a healthy diet, medical treatment, or real behavioral change. When a product is labeled natural, people assume it's harmless. The natural isn't always effective or even safe, especially without oversight.
There's an ethical issue at play here. It's one thing to promote wellness, it's another to manipulate science to sell something. Many companies rely on consumer ignorance, using scientific jargon, referencing ancient remedies, and highlighting exotic origins to paint a picture of legitimacy and uniqueness. But testimonials and fancy packaging aren't evidence. At what point does marketing cross into misinformation? That's a question this industry must confront.
So, looking to the future, how do we protect consumers? What can we do? First, consumers need to be empowered with knowledge, how to read labels, recognize red flags, and understand what research really means. Regulators need to tighten standards and improve enforcement. Companies that genuinely believe in the power of mushrooms should invest in real science, fund clinical trials, publish results, and market responsibly. Wellness doesn't have to mean deception.
To wrap things up, myconutrition has potential. Mushrooms are fascinating organisms with bioactive compounds worth studying. But potential is not truth. Consumers deserve honesty, and science deserves integrity. Let's make sure that in our pursuit of natural health, we don't lose sight of what truly matters: evidence, ethics, transparency, and the health of our consumers.
Before we finish this presentation, we wanted to leave you with two important questions. What standards should wellness brands be held to when making health claims? Furthermore, should the FDA play a more active role in reviewing and regulating supplements before they hit the market?
These are our reference, everyone. Our research was supported by scientific literature, regulatory resources like the FDA, and educational institutions. We encourage you to review these references to get a depth of knowledge and insight, the evidence or lack for of for many of the claims we've discussed today. Thank you.
Thank you.